one of the big things that I've kind of really gotten into looking into is just sort of like looking at the partners, because there's a ton of them, and you're kind of limited unless you're actually pulling from the partner banner. And right now, a lot of times when you look at the partners, it's like hard to kind of understand, like, hey, what the hell? So I can look at the partners I currently have here, and that's fine, because like I've got a couple of rare ones. Like I've got Carity, who's actually pretty solid. I've got a Cod, who's also kind of dope. Because he specifically says bullet cards, which is like, it's perfect for Renoa. It's perfect for Lucas. That's perfect for Selena. That's perfect for so many people. Actually, speaking of which, I should probably do that really quick while I'm thinking about it. Um, I'm currently using Rosaria on her, because of the extra. So this is a whole Selena thing. Rosaria is phenomenal for Selena because of all the increased extra attack damage. And then when she uses an upgrade or skill, she has a 32% chance to gain an additional morale for the turn. And then just gets a free enhance card. And if not, it's just a draw, like 2 for a draw. Okay, that's not the best, but it's better than nothing. When you're looking at partners, sometimes you kind of have to try to match just kind of the basis of what the character you're attaching it to is actually going to do, because there are some that are way better than others when it comes to that specific character. Think of it kind of in the same terms as if you're playing like Genshin, where you get the weapon, or ZZZ when you get their W engine, or Star Rail when you get their light cone, their specific light cone card. Partners are basically the exact same idea. There are partners that are a best match for every character. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's their weapon. It's just the best partner that they can take into combat with and have it be the most useful for them. That being said, if you actually look at the partner list, and this is actually the best way to do it, is going into Rescue and going into the banner forum, because then you actually get to see either that one, or if we go here, this is the one I want. So other than the banner agent, who is actually who we're going to be talking about, you'll notice here that there's a bit of there's just a discrepancy in the amount of type that are 4-star versus 5-star. But that being said, when you really look down at it, there's a couple of really good partners that are actually best in slot for a multitude of people. But what it really boils down to is there's only 2 really good partners for characters like Renoa and like the snipers, like the gun wielding characters, the ranged, like the hunters and the rangers. And so like I started looking into some of it, and I found 2 partners that I kind of wanted to talk about because they look really cool. And it's like, I may actually have to like look into them. So Asteria is the banner. So Asteria is adorable. So like their whole lore is so a lighthouse keeper who guides the Ark through space. Though never showing themselves to others and regarded as a mysterious being, they are actually a severe hikikomori. They're a shut-in with intense social anxiety. They dislike going outside or interacting with people and spending most of their time observing stars, which is the whole reason why they sound like this. God, I just want to give her head pats. She's adorable. You know who she reminds me of? She reminds me of a slightly more traumatized Bernadetta from fucking Three Houses. Poor thing. So Asteria is the banner partner. She's brand new. She's not part of the basic roster list yet. But she's a striker. So she's really good, especially for the banner character, Haru. The specific reason for that is the assigned combatant attack card will do that cost 2 or more will do 25% more damage. And will do an additional 10% damage if the assigned combatants pulverize cards. Well, pulverize basically means that it does the same amount of damage that it says on the card in tenacity damage. So that's actually perfect for Haru. Because Anchor Shot does pulverize. Oh my god, it's almost like they intended for Steria and Haru to match together. So, like, if you get Haru, getting Asteria makes the most sense. Because the partner fits the character. It does. So the thing is that there are some 4-stars that match those characters, but in a more generic way. In the 4-star area. So, like, that being said, there are 2 separate... I want to talk specifically about Renoa for a moment. So, Renoa is a hunter. There are only 2 hunters right now. In the 5-star space. Lucas is also a hunter, but that's kind of a different story. Luke and Renoa are our 2 hunters. So when you start actually looking at the partners, that tells you something. There's Janet and Kiara. If you notice something about them, and I'll show you guys that in a minute, when you look at Janet, and you look at here, you'll see she's Iron Rain. Iron Rain is the support squad for Wolf Squadron, which is Beryl and Luke and Lucas's team. So having Janet attached to Luke makes sense. Because handgun bullet card. Literally built for him. So we're going to look at this gal. So, the partner Kiara is a 5-star partner that can either be purchased at the store or pulled through the partner standard banner. She has a interesting attack boost, and her standard passive when equipped to when equipped to a hunter. If there are 10 or more cards in the graveyard, the assigned combatant's attack card damage is increased by 15%. This happens often. When the assigned combatant discards a card, 25% attack card damage for 1 turn. So that basically means if whoever I have them attached to discards a card, they will gain 25% attack card damage, which, by the way, Dirge Bullet is an attack card, for the entire turn. So, if you manage the Dirge Bullets and they get discarded because you end the turn, at the beginning of the next turn, all of her damage will be increased by an additional 25% for that turn. Seems pretty good. Her ego skill is 3 cost. It's 200% damage, and then it does an additional 20% damage by 20% additional damage increased by the number of cards in the graveyard. So the more cards in the graveyard, the more damage this ego skill does. That gets out of hand real quickly if you have a lot of Dirge Bullets in the graveyard. So yeah, the more I start looking at Kiara, and the more I start looking at 5-star partners, the more I realize, hey, ooh, boy, they really kind of tip the scale for your endgame build. 4 stars are great, don't get me wrong. Getting all the 4 stars you can so you have options is perfect. You'll want to do that anyway because you get them when you pull on your standard character banner. But the thing, if you've noticed, if you've pulled enough, like, you know, most of us have, you'll notice that you don't pull 5-star partners. Because the only way to pull 5-star partners is through the banner or through the shop. So, with Kiara, it's just, it makes the most sense. First of all, she's Terra Scion, which is SS Nightmare crew. So yeah, no, she is definitely the partner for Renoa. She's just like the whole concept of the way that the 5 stars work make a lot of sense in that they are definitely built to be dedicated to a single agent. That being said, you will also notice that there's a severe lack of the ones that are on the battle pass. 2 defenders, only 1 psychic, only 1 controller, 2 rangers, 2 attackers, 2 hunters. So it begs the question, what does that mean for the other characters that only get 1 5-star from here? It means spending money on the battle pass so that once you get to level 30, you get one of the battle pass 5 stars. That's kind of your only option for a couple of these characters. So when you're dealing with the controller, your options are very, very limited. You are either going to end up getting Noelle, who is very generic, 15% damage, shield, and HP increase, which is a thing. At the end of the turn, deal fixed damage to all enemies equal to 15% for each retained card in the assigned combatants. 5% damage for enemies with instinct attribute. So here's the thing. She shines with an instinct character. Well, instinct controller, huh? Okay. Well, let's look at the combatants. That's not what I wanted. The combatants. We want instinct controller. Orlea. Nia. Cassius. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like Orlea and Cassius do really well with her. Probably Orlea, honestly. You could also argue Nia, but as we've kind of already guessed, 5-star partners are kind of meant for 5-star characters, so Orlea is kind of the only one that can readily utilize that partner. So, in the long run, we come here, and we look at the Arcanian supply. And these gals. So the thing here is that these gals are 1 for every class. But again, like I said, the biggest drawback of these is that the only way to get them is by actually purchasing Battle Pass. Hitting level 30 and having the unlocked Battle Pass will give you the option to pick one of these. So yeah, it kind of sucks because they're locked behind that paywall. And I'll be honest, a couple of them are really, really good. Priscilla is strong, generic use striker. Ishlin is a really good defender. Nyx is a phenomenal controller agent, partner. I actually talked about her in my my Mika video. The assigned combatants' HP and healing are increased by 8. Really good for Mika. Really good for any actual dedicated healer. When the assigned combatant draws for the first time each turn using an ability, plus 8% damage dealt by allies for 1 turn. And there are known epiphanies when you get a blessed epiphany. There's a couple of them. I think Dialos and Chiron give card draw, as you saw in the run we just did. So yeah, she's phenomenal on Mika, because that's crazy to me. And then obviously her ego also discards 3 cards and draws +1 equal to the number discarded, which counts for the 8% damage increase on allies. So yeah, these gals are actually really, really good. Eventually, you will probably want to get them. However, that also includes spending money. So, when it really comes down to it, if you're going to spend any money on this game at all, this is the place to do it, to try to get one of these gals, because they're worth it. They actually are worth it. It's expensive. $10 isn't cheap for a lot of people. I get it. I do. It sucks. But it's kind of the baseline option for most people when it really comes down to it. So you either try to start pulling on the partner banners, or you kind of functionally do what you can otherwise. Oh, you pulled Marin? Nice. That's super cool. Extra attack damage of cards generated by the assigned combatant's ability increases by 15%. She would be so good for Selena. When the assigned combatant uses a skill card, which she has a ton of, 25% extra attack damage for 1 turn, 200% damage to all enemies, draw 1 skill card. Bro, she would be phenomenal on Selena. She would go really good with Selena. She would go really good. She's actually generic enough that she could go on any of the Rangers. She'd be really good on Selena, and she would probably also be really good on... Again, I keep going to my list when I want to go into the collection. She could also be phenomenally good on Hugo. I actually don't know. Is Veronica's Ballista considered extra attack? I don't think it is. Like, it's her... You know, I'll have to actually ask that question. I don't actually know if Veronica's Ballistas count as extra attacks, but I do know that Hugo and Selena... her mark is extra, and his lightning dingos are all extra attacks, so that counts. I also know that, well, because Renoa's not actually a ranger, so it doesn't matter. She's a hunter. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask about Veronica's Ballista. I actually don't know if it's considered extra attack or not. Actually, you know what I should do? Just look at it. Ballista. It is considered extra attack. Oh, so you could put it on her too. All right, so there's actually 3 really good targets. She's generic enough that Selena, Hugo, or Veronica, all 3 of them could use her very well. I would agree with that. I feel like that would be a really good card for any of them. You know, like Marin seems like she would work great for anybody that does extra attack. And all 3 of those rangers have extra attack. So, yeah, she would go great with any of them. She's adorable. Look at her. That's so cute. Oh, she's a black Spica? That's actually Veronica's race. Cool. I didn't know that. Huh. Neat. But yeah, when you look at partners, make sure that you're looking at what their passives do, because not all passives match who you're trying to put them on. Like, Tina is another one of those things. She is very specifically order. She's a ranger. She does order boosts, and man, she is hella specifically. She's very niche. Hold on, who would she even go on? Who's an order ranger? Hugo. She only works with Hugo. Only works with Hugo. So you see what I'm saying? Like, some of them are generic and work for everybody. Some of them only work for one character. So yeah, if we're looking at the partners, Tina is very specifically Hugo's partner, meant for Hugo. Bonus extra attack damage from targeting attack cards. So that's his basic attacks. And then all of his extra attack damage, so all of his lightning dingos, do additional 50% damage. Not bad. Not bad. Her ego is 2, which is cute. That's very cheap. Draw 1, increase the combatant's extra attack damage by 30% for 1 turn. So you ego, and then just dingo, 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 and everything explodes. So yeah, no, again, so like, she's very specifically for Hugo. But like I said, like, that's something you have to look at. Like, am I really pulling for specific, like, this gal? Yeah, so you'll notice that when you, so for instance, when you look at it, you see how this is green? That's so you can tell what color matches. So when you go and you look at Hugo, green. And when you click on it, it tells you green is order. So the color of the text will always match the color of the character that you're putting it on to match it to that character. So Tina, 100% built only for Hugo. 100% built for Hugo. So that's kind of the reason why you look at that. So there's a couple of other ones I wanted to go over. Zeta is actually really interesting. So I don't have Calipe on this account, but she is Calipe's partner. Period. Instinct, defense-based damage on Instinct. Yeah, that's Calipe's cards. All of them are defense-based damage, and she's Instinct. She is built for Calipe, 100%. And 25% of the assigned combatant's Haven card defense-based damage and shield. That's her fucking silver point and her like she's actually got, it's called Silver Hand, which is both a Haven and Retain card. So like, yeah, no, there is no doubt in my mind that this chick is built very specifically for Felipe. Also, that outfit, like, damn, bro, that's crazy. She's crazy. But yeah, Zeta's built for Calipe. So you can kind of understand where I'm coming from. Like, and like, so that basically means that, like, okay, so here's a funny one. This is the one I wanted to end on. Erica is very unique, and I'll show you why. When you look at all of the agents, not a lot of the agents in the defense pool have counterattack. Calipe's cards are all about just straight up tenacity and shield and defense-based damage. No counterattack. She can, in some cases, epiphany into counterattack, but it's not really a thing. Amir, again, she's all about metalize. So a lot of her stuff is built around metalizing, damage reduction, but not counterattack. Again, she can epiphany into counterattack, but it's not really her shtick, right? So what does that leave us for defense units? Yeah, like, look to Calipe, look to Amir, Maribel. Maribel does counterattack, counterattack, counterattack. Defense band is counterattack, field damage. So here's the one time where you can actually look at a partner that's a 5-star partner and go, oh, what the crap? We have a 5-star partner that doesn't have a 5-star agent to pair with yet. She, right now, only pairs with Maribel. Because Maribel is the only character who comes with a default of cards with counterattack. I lost my shit when I saw that. I was like, wait a minute. The assigned combatant's counterattack damage increases by 15%. When the assigned combatant uses a skill or upgrade card, there's a 50% chance to gain counterattack. Could technically go on any of the girls. But why not just make it easy on yourself and put her on Maribel? You could put her on Calipe, but Calipe already has a partner that makes a lot more sense for her because she's all about boosting instinct damage, which is exactly what Calipe wants to do anyway. She looks like a tank. She's a damage dealer. She's just a bruiser. An absolute menace bruiser. Probably one of the best characters in the game, too, I might add. But then also does her a 2-cost ego, which that's cheap for this. 200% defense-based damage to all enemies, 1 counterattack, and if the enemy's anticipated action is attack, you gain an additional counterattack. You can't look at this card and tell me she doesn't fit on Maribel. She 100% is Maribel's partner. Which, again, weird, because 5-star partner, 4-star agent. So, like, okay. Also, ma'am, you are almost out of uniform. Goddamn. Whew. So yeah, no, she is such an anomaly compared to all of the other partners who all eventually match to other 5-star agents. Erica is the only one who doesn't. She can match to Calipe, but she's not the right match. She's not the perfect match. Giving her counterattack is cool, but I'll be honest, man, Calipe does not have a ton of the cards that are needed for that. She's got 1, 2, 3, 4. She has 4 skill, and I'll be 100% honest. This one typically doesn't come up all that often, and her Vulture Ejection is an attack card. So, yeah, that's not happening, kids. I tell you what. So, like, yeah, no. Erica is not built. Erica is not built for Felipe. She's built for Maribel, and I think that's really cool. Like, the fact that you could, in fact, roll for that and then, like, kind of go from there, it just makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel on partners. Look at them. Like, look at the partners. Do actually look at the partners, because some of them make a lot more sense in the long run. That lineup. Whoo, doggy. I tell you what. Anyway, I know what I'm about. Yeah, look at partners. Make sure you understand them. Because sometimes you'll find ones that make a lot more sense, and they'll be 3-star. Like, I'll be 100% honest. He's also really good for Maribel. If you don't have the 5-star, you're probably going to be running Rydell on Maribel as their partner for a long time. Max health, counterattack state, defense state damage is increased by 8. That's pretty good. Maribel's almost always in counterattack, so she's always going to end up doing a bunch of additional damage. I don't see why you wouldn't use him. Probably the best in slot for that. Rachel's also really strong, but not particularly built for her for Maribel. Could gain counterattack with it, but she's more about just building the shield, and that's kind of a mirrors thing. But yeah, that's my whole spiel on it. I feel like looking at the partners and kind of going back and forth, everything that they've said about this game has been really relatively truthful in my eye. Knowing full well that you always have the ability to build with every partner across the board from 3 to 4 to 5-star, across all agents, be them 4 or 5-star agents, there will always be a partner that will work very well with them if you don't have the top end stuff.